Hi, my name is Claire Franks, and the book that I have read is Winnie the Pooh by A. Milne. This is a fantasy chapter book, and its Lexile code is a 790L, which means it would be really good for about third or fourth grade. What's really cool about this book, I bought this at Barnes & Noble recently, and it is a replica of the first ever edition of Winnie the Pooh, which came out in 1926, which is the copyright of this book. So Pooh is something that's really special to me and something that I grew up with and really have always enjoyed. I have older siblings who loved Winnie the Pooh, and I have younger siblings that love Winnie the Pooh. I started watching the movies and the show, so I got very familiar with the characters. Many people already are familiar with Pooh's lovable personality, and Piglet, who's always very scared, and Eeyore, who is always very gloomy. So when I read this book, I really thought I knew what I was getting into since I wasn't familiar with the original, but I still felt like I had a good idea of the characters. And something that really stood out to me is I was surprised that Tigger was not in this original book. He is one of my favorite characters when I was little, and there seemed to be a lot of things that focused around Tigger, so I was surprised that he doesn't actually come into the story of Winnie the Pooh until A.L. Milne's second book. So that was something fun for me for this book. Another thing that was fun with this book, it was a lot more simple than the TV shows. It was a very easy read. It was super enjoyable. Just some of the things also that I love about Winnie the Pooh is how curious he is and how he's not afraid to go out and try things even if he fails. So I think that is something that has always been appealing to me about the book. Another thing is that each chapter of this book is a different adventure that Winnie the Pooh and his friends go on. So those might include Piglet, they might include Owl, who is always very smart, or they might include cheering up Eeyore in one way or another, and they always include Christopher Robin, who is the owner of Winnie the Pooh, and he is his friend who always helps him whenever he needs. So one of the very beginning chapters, Winnie the Pooh decides he's so hungry that he really needs some honey, which is his favorite thing. But the problem is bees make honey, and he doesn't want to mess with the bees. So here's a little passage about Winnie the Pooh trying to get to the top of a tree where the honey is. So Winnie the Pooh says, "I like this," he said. "When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you were only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue balloon, they might think you were only part of the sky and not notice you. And the question is, which is most likely?" I think this is a great representation of this book. It's Winnie the Pooh is in some sort of predicament, so he is trying to figure out the best way to get to the top of the tree. Does he use a green balloon? Does he use a blue balloon? So you'll have to read this book to find out what he uses and if it works, and does he make it to the honey. So overall, I would definitely give this book a 5-star. It is a quick read, it is an easy read, and you can read a chapter and take a break and come back because it's not hard to get back into the story since each chapter is a different adventure. So I hope you guys all enjoy this book.